So, playing Tigris and Euphrates, I'm trying to reconstruct kind of where I am. The donkey player is looking, and he's got a couple... First of all, the pile is beginning to get kind of small. We can kind of peek into it, but it's a lot smaller than it was. There's still some time, there's no question, but... Anyway, the donkey is looking at his options, and, well, the first thing is, the easiest stuff to get, black cubes, is his weak point right now. So, what he's going to do, instead of continuing to try to grow this, although that was an interesting concept, he's got a couple of black pieces. He can start generating black cubes if he plays here. So he's going to drop into here, and then, see, he needs reds and greens both, but having a concentration of one color seems valuable in this. So he's going to drop a green piece and do a quick challenge for the crown here in a way that, you know, he's got a 2-point bonus plus he's got these. He's going to immediately throw these in for 4 points. And then we go over to the lion, who has 0 on the board right now. Could throw one in if he wants. He doesn't particularly want to. It looks like black might be useful to him. So that's a destruction of this piece. That gives him, the donkey, a black piece. Nothing's destroyed beyond that. But now he also gets his production. He made both his plays, right? He gets his production, which is going to be 2 black cubes, a blue cube. He's got more blues than he's going to ever surpass with anything else. He doesn't really need to work on them. And nobody gets the green. That's open right now. Okay? And then we'll move on. So now we look over to this fellow, our urn guy. And he's got a weakness too. He has only 1 blue. Well, something just opened up, a very powerful position. He could drop himself into there, okay, and start a conflict with this. Now, the main reason for doing this is to collect 1 blue per turn. But if he wins over this empire's or kingdom's blue, he has that in defense against anyone else, and it's very strong, and he's in this powerful position. Blue cubes are the thing he's most interested at this point, so he's willing to go for that and allow the donkey to go for the black cubes. This is going to be an not much of an interesting fight. He's got 4 surrounding temples, whereas the donkey only has 1. 4 temples sounds pretty good. But I probably want to throw at least 1 in. I'm going to throw 2 additional in. That brings me up to 6 temples. Now, here's the thing. This guy's got 5, 6. He could win this fight, and then he'd get a whole handful of stuff. On the other hand, he could hold those temples and insert himself into, say, perhaps winning the red position over here. This is where it gets tough. Do you want to defend this strong position you have? I think the answer is he does. So he'll throw his 5 in. It's not that he needs blue, and it's not terribly that he's hurting anyone, but it's that I'm not seeing a great opportunity. Now, one may occur by the time he gets around there. There may be another connection. Maybe this urn will have been removed from its central place. Maybe the lion will have been removed from its central place. And if those happen, then this may not be as big a deal. But what has happened instead is he's defeated the urn. He gets a red cube for that, which is kind of cool. That's something he likes. He's getting sort of a free red cube out of the play. So losing a battle may not be such a great idea because you do get something out of it. And, wow, these are disconnected. That's kind of interesting. Unless there's somebody in here, the empire is smaller. Now, that was Ern's first play. I don't know what his second play is going to be. He's still interested in getting blue pieces. He doesn't have a good option except to throw himself back in there. Now he's got 4. He could throw another one in to 5, but there's no reason for that because he's got at most 1 plus the 1 piece he's got. So bang, he's going again. That seems a little weird. I'm going to make sure it's correct, but if it is, he's going to capture a red piece, and then he's going to get the production that from his territory, which will be a blue piece, which is why he's really doing this. Well, actually, he can't do this, and I think I cheated before, too, when I tried it. I'll let the first cheat stand, but he can't do this because it connects the 2 kingdoms. I wasn't really aware that I had become separated there. This is kind of a problem with this situation because it is hard to keep that in mind. I'm going to leave it alone this time, and I'll try to figure out what the Ern is going to do to try to produce blue. I don't think he has a good answer for this. He has no pieces on the board. That's the problem. What could he do? Well, he could destroy something. I haven't been using these. I'm not quite sure how to use them. That's one of the problems. It can create a line that someone can't pass, a protection, if you would. Well, what I don't have, what doesn't exist over here is a green. But the green Ern is actually on the board. Oh. See, moving, this is the only way I can get anything, though. So, again, I can't place here. I can't place here. I want to be next to a temple. But I don't want to overdo my situation. This is tough. But I think I'm going to... I'll drop down here. This looks like a kind of valuable place. And now, by doing that, I'm going to get a green cube. And I'm not terribly low on green cubes, but this was the best way I could produce anything. And now some more cubes go. And this shouldn't have even happened, but I can't really undo that. And just because that play couldn't have happened doesn't mean that the same result couldn't have happened. So Ern could have played his blue piece, say down here somewhere, and still been beaten by the donkey playing lots and lots of pieces. So it's not that it was a completely illegitimate occurrence. Anyway, we'll move on to the arrow. And I'm sorry for taking so much time on this one, but I feel like some really interesting decisions are starting to develop in the game. The other 2 players take more cautious moves. For example, he went in here and expanded a red, because red is his low value. He has no really easy way. There's no point generators in red as there are in black, blue, and green on the board yet. And that's kind of hard to get, to tell you the truth. Well, you could get it, say, off the blue thing, but there are no red base things other than the blue one, and blue can only be built here. And building an actual red, a monument, well, it doesn't matter for that. So green and black could be converted to blue with these guys. But nobody's done that yet. And actually building a red monument on a red space is tough to do. It requires clumping 4 temples. And temples are useful in terms of what they kind of project on the board otherwise. And the temple chits are useful in terms of fights for the religious, for the internal conflicts. So it's kind of, I think it's hard to use the temples to build a monument with. A fight without getting points. So after the donkey, I don't know what he did. Something kind of simple. He's creating a decent amount of points here, though, between blue and black. The black is what he needs there. He did something to get himself a green. Yeah, he played down here. But now the urn played a temple here to the kingdom. Now nobody has the red piece for this kingdom, so nobody got a point for that. And then he played an urn here. Now the reason for doing this in this direction rather than the other direction, he could have played right here first and then maybe played a piece that got him a victory point. The reason is he's giving support to both of these pieces, so he's strengthening his hold on that part of the empire. The problem, of course, well, he's got 2 bids. He's going to go up to 4. And let's see. He's only got 2. He's only got 1 over there and 1 here. So he's going to let it go because it's beginning to look like the temples are worthwhile to the donkey again. That means a red chip over here. But it also means this is now disconnected from the empire. And it's got a real problem because this stuff is very powerful and somebody can jump in and grab it. Bad move there. I'm going to leave bad moves because I'm still kind of playing around with this, trying to see what happens. And the weird jockeying continues. Red moved itself down here so that it could build an extra red piece. The arrow moved down there so it could build extra red pieces. There were no real opportunities to do anything tremendously of value with this big kingdom. And that big kingdom is not really terribly safe with this. So building up red, if you're going to do it 1 piece at a time or whatever, well, building it here seems valuable. And if he can surround himself with them, he can make a sort of power center like this, where he's got a piece on the board at all times that he can always add reds to. Well, there's a little bit of danger in terms of this guy is getting close to everything, which was kind of his goal. He was all linked into it all. So playing a red piece is kind of difficult, but he's got a couple of spaces he can do it in. Then going over, and I haven't filled the handout, the lion dropped in here so that, and I think I've already taken the points, he could grab these black pieces here, the bonuses from these. He destroyed the donkey's black piece, giving himself a red piece. Now he threw a bunch of temples in to do that. He had 4 of them, I think, in his hand. But what was his other play? His other play was adding a black piece, so he got an additional one. So now this kingdom is just ruled by a king, which means anything added here now, he can just score. That's kind of cool, but he's not getting the blue and green as it stands. See, the donkey made a double move, pulled his green out of here to put it here, so he can collect the points off of this. Hey, sweet. And then over here he dropped his red one, because this is kind of a nice power base for a red piece. It has both, the same as what these guys are doing, it has both an offensive as well as its own strength against revolution, which is kind of cool. The urn player built these waterways, got himself 1 cube for that, then connected here. That put a fight with the donkey and between the green urn that was here and the green donkey. He had a couple of green pieces in his hand, the urn did, so he threw them in. That would have given him the advantage. He didn't get it. Instead, the donkey had a piece, so he won the tie. Gets an extra red piece for that, an extra green piece for that defense. As well, though, now we've got production coming in, which is kind of pleasing to have that. Those monuments are really neat, the way they work in the game. And, well, we got the bow. Built up another red. That's what he desires. He puts a black bow here. He's planning on building up with his blacks. Black's the most worthless of the things overall for most of the people. But he doesn't have a way to challenge in here. And there are enough black pieces here that he can't take over the kingdom easily. So he feels like he has to build his own blacks because that's his weakest color. Well, other than red, which he's been building up, but he didn't have another red piece to build. Over here with the lion, I made an error. No biggie. But again, this is kind of a fast-paced game, which my pace of description doesn't match. And nor does it match my playing when I'm describing it all. But he thought this was blue, and thought he's getting a blue piece no matter what, when really he's just producing black pieces. So instead he expanded his red holdings, and he's actually looking at building a red monument there to produce some extra points. But that may not be a wise move. He may need to instead try to get some expansion in blueness. He's got the possibility of a blue monument here. Here, he doesn't have much chance of taking blue because he played his damn temples around himself instead of using them for an assault, which is kind of the problem. I'm going to send this one up. I think we're coming closer to the end. There's not too many in there. And we'll see how that goes.